Welcome to .life, Dorchester's only hyperlocal podcast with news, commentary, and analysis. Super excited to be back in the Dorchester Reporter offices with our old friend Bill Forry.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to you.
Thank you. We missed having you here, and it feels like it's been a long time, but it's only
we had
been 2
Thanksgiving,
weeks.
yeah.
Yes.
Thanksgiving how was yours?
It was wonderful. We
Good.
hosted. We had a full house for a few days there. So how about you?
Buffalo. Yeah.
Nice.
It was nice, except coming home, blizzard.
Snowstorm. Wow, who would have thought it?
Yeah. Good old Buffalo on
Did
brand.
you get stuck in traffic or at the airport?
I was in traffic between Syracuse and Albany. Was terrible. Worst I've ever seen on the 90.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was bad. But
Well, welcome home. We don't have any traffic here.
I know. It was lovely. No, we don't have any snow here, which is nice.
We're looking out at Kosciuszko Circle, which is actually moving at the moment, but probably not for long.
Remarkably.
Yeah.
So did you catch any football?
I did. I watched the Bills played well against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
It's nice to see you guys get back in the win column after
so
quite a drought.
Proud of you.
I watched the Patriots as well, but I fell asleep at halftime. It was Monday Night Football. I wasn't feeling well Monday night, but
Yeah.
But the Patriots were feeling pretty good.
Sure were.
And they got it done yet again, 10-2, right? So, or are they 11-2?
I think they're 11-2 now.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So, best record in football and on track, I think, to take the division
We'll
title,
see.
right?
We can still take it.
There's a bye week for the Patriots coming up, and then we have the Bills at home.
Yep.
So are you going to the game?
No,
No?
I'm not going to the game. I'm going to be in London.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
but
right.
I will find it in a pub. I promise.
Yes, you found it last time. Congratulations.
And we lost.
What's your expectation, Patriots Bills?
I think. Well, let me see how we play this week against the. We play the Bengals this week with Joe Burrow back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. We're so up and down. It's really hard to say, but I think this is a revenge game.
Yeah,
You know? We've
right.
got Steph Diggs and Matt Collins. We want to beat. We need this game to have a chance.
Means a
at
lot
the
more to the
division.
Bills than the
Yeah.
Patriots, doesn't it?
Well, if you guys lose that one, we would have tied. You know, it would make your winning the division a lot harder.
Okay, high stakes. I
Yeah,
like it. I
yeah.
like it. So
And honestly, for us, if we don't get first in the conference or the division, I don't really care what place we get because who are we going to play that's going to challenge? Like, it doesn't matter so much. So,
Right.
yeah. Anyway.
looking forward to it. Either way,
Yeah, it should be good. But we got to get through this week first. You guys get a break.
we get a break.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. We've got several things to talk about this week, catching up on some things from last
Mm-hmm.
week. But we'll start with Beacon Hill news and then Beacon Hill not news, I guess.
Yeah. Right. There's some politics going on
Yeah.
all around. I think you're starting with the tax plan, the mayor's tax proposal.
Everybody's favorite tax plan.
Yeah. Well, this has come up before. We dealt
Yeah.
with this last year. I think this is now the third time that the mayor has gone to Beacon Hill with a proposal. And just to take a step back, what the mayor is attempting to do here is to try to take some of the shock out of the sticker that folks are going to see either way next year. There is going to be a residential tax hike again. And right now the projection is it's going to be roughly 13% increase for residential property owners in Boston. It amounts to roughly $780 additional in 2026 on your tax bill.
That's a lot.
That's average for a single family house only, so it could be higher or lower, but that's right in the median.
Yeah.
It's a lot, especially coming off a year where we already had a average 15% hike last year.
Yep.
And what the mayor's attempting to do to try to tamp that down a bit is to she and the city council put forward a home rule petition that needs the legislature's approval and the governor's approval. That's how it works with a lot of things in Boston. The state legislature has say-so over some mechanism of government, including taxes. And so the city has to go to the state and say, let us change the way we apportion our tax bills year to year. And in 2024, they could see this coming. And the real cause here is that the commercial market has
tanking, right?
Yeah, with all these vacancies in the city. So the values of these downtown high-rises in particular have dropped. And as a result, their tax burden is affected by that. Their tax valuations go down. To make up for it, the residential values are going up because of the housing shortage, the demand in Boston. Even homes that have seen no improvements for maybe a decade are still going to see a spike in their value because it's a more valuable property, and the neighborhoods are more. There's more demand. So, in an attempt to change that formula, they have to go to the state. And last year, the home rule petition got to the red zone, to continue the football analogy, right? They got through the city council. The mayor obviously wanted it to happen. Got to the state house, and the House of Representatives, where Michelle Wu has some pretty strong allegiances.
Yeah.
The number 2 person at the state in the House of Representatives is Aaron Mikowitz, chair of Ways and Means. Mike Moran, who's a very powerful Democratic leader from Brighton. I mean, she has good, strong allies in the House who can kind of force these things to the floor at least and move it ahead. And so the House of Representatives signed on to this package.
Yep.
It was the Senate that said, wait a minute, we're not comfortable with this. Nick Collins in particular, the senator from South Boston, who also represents parts of Dorchester. Will Brownsberger, another state senator who represents parts of Boston but is from Belmont. And of course, the Senate President, Karen Spilka, who really is the ultimate decision maker about what happens at the Senate side, basically put the brakes on it last year, killed it.
Kicked it wide right?
Yes. Yeah, it was a no-go. It was like the Giants kicker. It got
Kicked into the ground.
It was kind of the Charlie Brown analogy. It didn't happen, but now the city council and the mayor have refiled it. It's back as of this past March. It's back for reconsideration. The House did what it had to do again, but the Senate hasn't even given it a hearing, and that's pretty surprising, actually. Even though, I understand the Senate doesn't care for this proposal. Thinks, their argument has been that they really don't believe the city's numbers. They don't agree with the way the city has valued properties. I think they also are worried about setting a precedent with other cities if they allow Boston to change their formula to shift more of it onto the commercial. And they're legitimately, I think, concerned about the economic impacts to businesses, to landlords, and to small businesses, commercial districts that will see the tax burden shifted onto their leases, no doubt. But it's really a case here of Beacon Hill and Government Center really clashing over a home rule petition, which is nothing new. I mean, this has happened for decades. Each mayoral administration has its moment where it doesn't see eye to eye with Beacon Hill. Unfortunately for homeowners in Boston, this will mean probably, if this isn't somehow some compromise isn't reached here, to higher tax bills than we'd like to see, for sure. Like I said, $780 a year hike on average, and that's going to come early in the year. That's going to be on the January bill. So people who are now accumulating debt because it's Christmas season, and a lot of us do that.
Get ready.
Be aware. Plug into this issue if you're not already, because there is going to be some real world monetary consequences real soon on this one. January 1st is when these tax bills go out. The legislature has the next few weeks to deal with this if they decide to do something. Right now, there's no sign of compromise in the offing.
I think that this is kind of a heady issue. It's a little bit hard to understand. I've been following it since the first, last year when it started to be kind of in the news. I don't think people are tuned in. Like, I don't think people realize that this is, I don't think they realized it the first time the taxes went up.
We just went through a mayor's race too, right? Like we really weren't talking about taxes during the mayor's race, which is kind of nuts.
Right.
Cynics may say, well, there's a reason nobody wanted to talk about that. And, it doesn't reflect well. The electorate would be pissed, and they should be, actually. But the reality too is that this has been filed. This home rule petition has been at Beacon Hill since March. So if people are also offering up, alternative plans, well, why haven't we been discussing or working on those over the last 8 months? So plenty of blame to go around here. And in the meantime, folks, you're right, may not be aware of it. The mayor just announced this week. Like, she had a briefing with reporters and Boston media believe it was on Monday, to let them know this was coming, and to also put some pressure to say, this is on Beacon Hill now. Let's ask them yet again to try to take it up.
Do you think that Beacon Hill cares how Boston residents feel?
I think in general, no, because Beacon Hill is, it's a statewide body, obviously, and I think there's some skepticism from suburban lawmakers that Boston people actually haven't been, burdened by property taxes compared to their constituents.
Okay.
They think Boston residents have it easy. And in some ways they're right, but it's because these suburbs are so affluent.
Right.
Their property values are through the roof.
Right.
It's only recently that Bostonians have seen, their Victorian home on, whatever.
Melville Ave.
Wells Ave or Dorchester Ave, wherever it may be, go from, a $30,000 house back 3 decades ago when they bought it to, $1.5 million, right? There's been a change, and part of it is the way that the city's valuing the properties and how that's changed. There's at the neighborhood level, people have said, wait a minute, why is my tax bill gone up 35% in the last 3 years? And this is why. The property is more valuable, and that's going to get reflected in the taxes.
At a time when everything else that you buy in your day-to-day life has gone up significantly.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, people are getting crushed with inflationary pricing, and then you add to that the federal piece where the city budget, the hole that will be in the city budget if there isn't an increase in taxes is even worse, because Washington is threatening to pull left, right, and center from grants.
Yeah.
So it's a perilous time, and I think it's the biggest challenge for the second term of the Wu administration.
Yeah. So speaking of Washington, we've got some other news from not Beacon Hill, from Capitol Hill.
Right. Yes.
That the long-awaited announcement did not come.
Well, it came, but it was not what everybody wanted to hear, maybe from the supporters of Ayanna Pressley. And Congresswoman Pressley announced on Monday that she will not seek to run to oppose U.S. Senator Ed Markey in his reelection bid. This has really happened over the last month or so, where this speculation kind of ramped up that Ayanna Pressley may run for U.S. Senate. And frankly, it was fueled because she didn't endorse Ed Markey like some of her other colleagues in the House have, and because polling was happening to test the waters, and she was showing strength. And I think there is a path for victory for Congresswoman Pressley in that scenario. Seth Moulton is challenging Ed Markey, so it would be a 3-way race in a Democratic primary with those 3 people. I think there may be some other candidates who emerge as well.
They don't have much time, though, do they? Don't they need to start?
Well, they don't have much time when it comes to fundraising.
Right.
There's plenty of time until
deadline
before getting nominations and signatures and stuff. That would be in the next calendar year. But in many ways, the clock was ticking here. We were expecting an announcement one way or another pretty much at the beginning of the month. Yeah. And it was a decision to stay and run for re-election in the Massachusetts 7th District, where, frankly, Ayanna Pressley is almost a lock to win re-election. Yeah. She's cruised to victory since her initial surprise win over Mike Capuano back in, I think it was 2017. But she really has a very safe seat, I think it's safe to say, in her in her re-election bid. And she also mentioned, just it was not the ideal time for her for a number of reasons on the family side of things. And I think that she arrived at that after weeks. I know that she was having these conversations. She was definitely strongly considering doing this. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I think, decided this is not the time for her. Ed Markey also, she and Ed Markey really do share much of the same base.
Ideologically, they're very aligned. Yeah.
So there was a risk too there of them splitting up their vote. Yeah. And Seth Moulton, who's considered more of a moderate, I suppose, and from the progressive point of view, might not be the ideal choice. That maybe he would emerge as the victor out of that 3-way.
I wonder too how much the idea of not being able to go to Dorchfest next year bothered her. She's a Dorchfest attendee.
She could have still gone. I mean, everybody should be campaigning at Dorchfest. I would expect to see Ed Markey dancing in front of
the samba dancers.
Yeah, no doubt. I've seen him do it. I've seen him dance at the Haitian parade with my wife, which was, he did a good job. He's a pretty, spry fellow
He's pretty
for
with it,
79
yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
He turns the shoe. And I do not be surprised if you see him and Seth Moulton at Dorchfest and the parade this year.
You know, I was listening to an interview with Ruben Gallego, who was former House, now Senate, Brian Schatz, who's Senate, and Pramila Jayapal, who is House. And Pramila was really shooting daggers, arrows at those two about how terrible the Senate is and how bad of an experience it is to be in the Senate. So I don't really blame her for not wanting to move into that body.
Well, yeah, I think she, again, has a not to say she's going to cruise to re-election. I mean, we don't know if she'll have an opponent or not, but, that would have been a pretty fierce contest for that by next September, in a three-way race.
For a prize that might not be that fun.
Yeah. I think she's good where she is, is her point of view.
Yeah, I agree. Well, sticking with the state situation, so we've got a lovely, again, this evening with the gorgeous full moon. There were flooding warnings on Morrissey Boulevard, so our beautiful thoroughfare.
It's a king tide this weekend,
it is,
so by the time people are listening or watching this, they may be wading through not only Morrissey, but the king tide is going to hit along Granite Avenue and Neponset Circle and probably the river down by the bike path. So keep an eye on that for Saturday. There's going to actually be a group meeting at Tinian Beach to do a king tide watch.
Nice.
And it's Maria Lyons is organizing that with other people from the Greenway Council. And they really want people to get engaged in this. But yeah, I think you're leading to what is the next public meeting of note locally about the Morrissey project, which is the Beeds Bridge replacement. And the Beeds Bridge is the drawbridge on Morrissey for the unacquainted.
Yeah, I almost blew off it on my way here.
It's windy night tonight.
It's windy.
Beeds Bridge has been there since 1928. So we're closing in on a century mark for having this infrastructure in place. It has been tinkered with a couple of times. There was a pretty big overhaul in 1950, and then in 2001, 2002, there was a $9.1 million repair made to keep it operational and from crumbling onto itself. Basically, it was in bad shape in the late 90s.
Does the drawbridge still work?
Oh yeah, it works. Okay. It works. Occasionally it does get stuck, but not as much as it used to. Yeah, back in the 1990s, late 90s, I remember being on the bridge with then State Rep Marty Walsh, who was very worried about the bridge because his parents, he told me, would drive over it and be like, Marty, we think we're going to fall through this thing someday.
Gosh.
And you could see the holes in the steel grates and the crumbling concrete that's still crumbling, by the way. It's not in ideal shape right now. But this would not be just a repair project. This would be a total replacement that the state is now envisioning. It isn't technically part of the Morrissey Commission scope that we've talked about before. That's a bigger project about the whole roadway. This meeting is just about the bridge.
But that project does incorporate the bridge, right? And this is just if that project doesn't go forward, they'll do this separately or no?
They're kind of doing a bit of a dance with that.
Yeah,
like what we've been told is that they'll be synced up, that the projects aren't like, if you read through the Morrissey Commission final report, there's very little mention of the bridge.
Okay.
The bridge is something unto itself and needs to get its own approvals and its own funding. And you're talking about, to replace this drawbridge, you're talking about $120 to $130 million is the estimate. Ooh. The total Morrissey project without the bridge is like another $230 million. To do the roadway and all the intersections
But if they don't sync up,
which is why I'm really interested in what they're going to talk about at this meeting because they haven't really told us.
They can't just do the bridge and be like, we're going to do the same thing we plan to do with the Morrissey. Sorry, the bridge isn't now in the right place.
Right. Whoops. I think they got to put the bridge pretty much where it is. But what we'd like to see is what design elements are going to go into it. Is it still going to be a retractable, drawbridge? There's been some speculation that maybe it'll be replaced with a fixed span or, that would be tricky to do. Does it
currently go just like straight up or does it open?
It opens
like
hinges open.
Okay.
And it, it has to allow navigable, maritime traffic to go in and out of Savin Hill Bay. And there's a yacht club there for one thing, but also for, law enforcement and first responder craft to get in and out of there, it has to be a drawbridge.
So if they do a fixed bridge, they just have to go a lot higher, right?
They'd have to go higher. They'd have to do pretty much a radical redesign.
That'd
And
be
I don't.
Cool.
It could be. I don't think they have the. I think it would be a lot more expensive.
Oh yeah.
And it would be. They'd have to really re-engineer the roadway too, along the kind of the run up to on either side. So it's most likely going to be a drawbridge again. But we're all interested to see, and we haven't seen any actual designs yet. So this meeting that's coming up, it's on December 16th in the evening at Boston College High School. And it's run by MassDOT, which is the agency that would, supervise this project when it happens. What we have heard is that 2028 is the, kind of the penciled in date for when they'd like to do this.
Yeah.
But big caveat, just like everything else in life at the moment, is that most of the funding that they've anticipated for this project would come from the federal government. And I don't know if you've noticed lately, they're not really like pouring satchels of money at us anymore. So
maybe by 2028 we'll have a different government.
We could. So I think that, part of what this is, they're doing all the prep work. They're getting all their dominoes in place to see if this actually could happen eventually. At some point it has to happen. I mean, there'll be a point where this bridge is no longer safe or functioning.
They're confident that it is safe now?
I've asked that question, and I don't have any reason to believe it's not.
Okay.
I mean, these bridges are inspected, but we haven't got a real answer on that question yet, Erin. To be totally honest, we gave.
I can't wait to drive home tonight.
You might want to go the long way. We don't have any reason to think it's not safe, but in fairness, we have asked a series of questions to MassDOT that, as of this taping, we don't have answers to.
Okay.
And I think we're going to get them together on December 16th at that BC High meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll be in London, so
okay. Well, somebody from the Reporter will be there. I guarantee it, and you can read about it at from London somewhere.
Yeah.
While you're watching the Bills.
Well, I'm watching the Bills with a pint. We have a new business. Well, not a new business. Got a resurrected business.
We do. I really like the resurrection dynamic
metaphor,
here. Up from the ashes like a zenith. Is that
Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix. Richard O'Mara and the Cedar Grove Gardens, which is now called Cedar Grove at Ashmont, has opened in a new retail space on Dorchester Ave in the Treadmark building, which folks will probably know, right across from Tavolo and across from the Local Hand.
Yep.
And it's also the space that Richard O'Mara and Cedar Grove Gardens now occupies is between Ashmont Cycle and American Provisions.
Perfect.
So, it's
That's
a really
an afternoon right there.
Yeah, it really is a nice addition to the business district on Dorchester Ave at Peabody Square, Ashmont. And it's also great because Richard O'Mara in Cedar Grove Gardens for 4 decades was this, staple institutional business on Adams Street, right across from the Cedar Grove Cemetery, but a flourishing business for all those years since Richard opened in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And really built an iconic local business. We talk about legacy businesses. That was certainly one of them. And it was sad when they closed 2 years ago. Richard sold the land, but didn't sell the business. He still owns Cedar Grove Gardens.
Yeah.
He moved it into a studio, kind of a private location where he would still do, floral arrangements and like weddings and things like that. But he didn't have a retail location anymore, and he missed it.
Was he planning to move, or he was planning to close it and then realized he wanted it again?
I think he was always planning to keep it open in some iteration and just do. But what he said to our reporter, Mara Melitz, who wrote the story for us, she did a great job. She's a Boston University student journalist working with us. And Richard told her, he didn't realize he was a people person until he closed the retail store and missed all his customers and missed the people he would interact with and his employees. And so he, about a year ago, started working out how could he reopen somewhere as a retail location. And this space is lovely. It's owned by Trinity Financial, which is Jim Keefe, who we've talked about on the show. And I know that he worked hard to help Richard get this thing open.
Beautiful light, natural light in there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Have you been in yet?
No, I have not, but the pictures are gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I went in there last week, right ahead of Thanksgiving. It busy, and he's selling wreaths and no Christmas trees.
Oh.
We missed the Christmas trees
Yeah.
at Cedar Grove Gardens lot, which that's where we used to go.
Yeah.
Now we
Probably
go to Lambert's.
poinsettias though, right?
Yeah, definitely poinsettias and like other, seasonal floral, but also gifts and like,
nice.
Cedar Grove Gardens always had great like local Dorchester themed ephemera in there. So and beautiful antiques because
that's
Richard's
cool.
partner Robert owns Dark Horse Antiques in
Nice.
in
Okay.
Lower Mills,
Yeah.
and they're a great couple and have long been like a great team. And I bet you Robert has something to do with the decor in there. He has there's some great wooden altar-like looking things in there. That's it.
Very cool.
So check it out. Cedar Grove at Ashmont. It opened in early November, and so far I hear it's going great.
I'm so glad they're back open. That's great. We have a poster on the table today. I'm going to hold it up. Where'd you dig this out of? Seth's attic?
We have one of these here at our office at the Reporter. This one was brought to our office this week by Bill Walzak, who has a small, collection of his own going on. This is a reproduction of the original, from what I'm told.
Okay.
We have an original here at the office. It's framed in our lobby.
Nice.
And then we have one in my office. That's folded up and not in great shape, but I use it for reference. There's a street map on the back that has also some information about the different neighborhoods. It's very accurate. Mm-hmm. None of that north-south Dorchester nonsense or, carving Mattapan out of the equation. Mattapan's in here.
What was this for? Why was this built? And what year was this?
Right. This map was created in 1975 by the Boston Redevelopment Authority.
Oh, I can tell now by the shorts.
Yeah. Wow, let's bring back some childhood memories for me right there.
Is that you?
Tire swings. This was what, I know we'll zoom in on that later, but that's what accounted for a playground, like, tree stumps and tire swings.
Like a European torture device.
Yeah. So were the shorts, I think. But this was a marketing tool created in 1975 by some Dorchester folks, some of whom Vicky Rugo was involved in producing this.
Yeah.
Bob Rugo.
Okay.
There was a couple of other Dorchester residents who lived on Ashmont Hill. And at the time in 1975, we've talked about how kind of bleak things were in the neighborhood and at Boston at large.
Yeah.
Losing population, right after the desegregation, busing crisis,
crime was
as it's actually going on.
Right? Yeah.
It was a disruptive time, and people were leaving.
Yeah.
And there was, we talk about there being a demand for housing now. There wasn't that. If anything, it was a city built for 800,000 people, and there would people were leaving in exodus fashion. This was a campaign devised to try to reverse that trend and to make Dorchester attractive to folks who might want to live here.
Yeah.
And Bill wrote a column about it this week. He was there at the time. He remembers it. And he said immediately when this came out, people like him who were transplants into the neighborhood seized on this as a moment of pride.
Yeah.
Framed it, put it in his living room, and hundreds of people, if not thousands, did the same thing. It was to kind of reclaim the name Dorchester as a, it was something to be proud of rather than to be, ashamed of.
Right.
And it was part of a campaign that the BRA did over a series of years in the 70s. They tried to rebrand three-deckers, for instance. They created a pamphlet. That's when the switch went to triple.
Which you do not say.
I don't love that, but I'm a purist. I know there are plenty of people who do use the triple, including one of my favorite shops, Triple Decker Candle Company, which we went to this past week.
Nice.
They're awesome. But yeah, the three-decker rebrand was part of this same era where, you're trying to market the neighborhood to folks who aren't from here originally and trying to get people to move in, and they did.
And build pride with the people who are here, which was probably helpful in kind of staunching
Absolutely, yeah. And Bill wrote a very nice column that goes into some of that history. And, a lot of folks have commented about where can they get this poster. We're going to work on that. I think that it should be, available. It's a vintage piece, but at the same time, most of these scenes are still intact, and you'll recognize them
The T signage might have upgraded a little.
Yeah, that looks like the one from Field's Corner, and it might still be there, but it's not looking as good as it did in 75.
I love this typeface.
And back then,
very retro.
There's a little postage stamp size, our favorite Dorchester icon, that the gas tank is represented, but there were 2 tanks back at then.
I did not know there were 2 tanks until I saw this poster.
Yeah, 2 tanks is like a rapper's name or something.
One is very boring.
But they took the tank that went away.
Yeah.
That had the original Corita Kent design on it, so they had to repaint the one
Really?
that's still there. Yeah, but they did a great job, and they made it. They may have even made it better.
Yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
This is available for folks to view on our site, and we're going to work with Bill and other folks, probably Vicky, who was instrumental in getting this started, to make some more of these.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe that could be a fundraiser or something.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, awesome. What's going on for next week?
Oh man, I can never remember when we actually do this show, like what we're working on for, like, what am I supposed to be doing right now instead of doing this? Yeah, we've got some sports stuff, some more sports stuff coming from Cassidy McNeely.
Nice.
She's working on a couple of profiles on local athletes. One's a Boston College hockey player. We've got some other, and we also heard about a young man who's been, I guess, drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals baseball, who's
cool.
Dorchester.
Wow.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so some of that's in the works, and then we're going to continue to try to figure out this whole tax thing and all that. So,
and you'll have a follow up on the Beadsbridge meeting, right? Oh no, that's
we'll
in
be
2
covering
weeks.
that on the 16th,
That's
so
in
there's
2
another
weeks,
week. But yeah, there's other meetings happening too.
Yeah.
We have a story coming about a controversial proposal for housing on Plain Street in Neponset that neighbors didn't like. And Cassidy was at the meeting last night, so we'll have that in next week's paper.
Okay.
And then I'll probably be writing more about the Kearney Hospital, because right after I leave here, I'm going to go to the final abutters meeting.
Oh, right. Okay.
And listen in on that.
Say hi to our former podcast guests.
I will. I should see a whole bunch of former podcast guests at this one.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining again this week, and we'll see you, probably a couple weeks.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Dot Life is sponsored in part by the Dorchester Reporter, Dorchester's own community newspaper and online home for all things Dorchester at dotnews.com. The Reporter, owned and operated by the Forry family, has been laser focused on Dorchester and the surrounding neighborhoods of Boston since 1983. That longevity and experience shows in its award-winning coverage every week. The Reporter is our go-to source for authentic stories about the people, places, and events that matter most to our daily lives. We are proud to partner with The Reporter and Dot News. And you can support the important journalism provided by The Reporter. Just go to dotnews.com to subscribe today. It's the best deal in town and helps keep our local community journalism alive and well. Back to Dot Life. We have talked a lot in recent months about pharmacies closing in the Dorchester area, particularly big chain pharmacies. Walgreens is one of the big ones, but also some CVS. And it has a huge impact. A lot of folks rely on pharmacies for more than just medications, also groceries and other essentials. So we wanted to talk more about not just the pharmacy closures, but what role pharmacies play in society and in Dorchester. And who better to talk to us about that than Mike Wilson, who is the owner and pharmacist at Crawford Drugs. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for having us in today.
I'm so excited to have this conversation and excited to meet you because Crawford Drug is a great place.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We've been in the neighborhood as a business since the early 1900s. My family is the third generation of owners. So just quick background on the pharmacy. The original owner was a guy by the name of Mike Crawford. He sold the business to twin brothers, Hy and Hank Levy. My grandfather worked for those twin brothers for a long time and then bought the pharmacy from them back in the 70s. We've had it in our family ever since, so that's made us the longest running family to own and operate the pharmacy, and just, been in the neighborhood forever now, it feels like.
That's quite a business legacy. Where, for folks who don't know, where are you based?
So we are at 1735 Dorchester Ave. The big landmarks near us are St. Mark's Church is right next door, and we're in between the Ashmont and Shawmut T stops on the Red Line. So super accessible by T, bus, Obviously, Dorchester Ave is a main roadway. So, yeah, we're right in the middle of the neighborhood.
And we've had a lot of people here recommend Via Canuccia. So if you do go to Via Canuccia, you can walk two storefronts down to
Correct.
Crawford.
Yep, absolutely. We walk 2 storefronts down, especially on the weekends
To get
for pastries and coffee.
And what are your hours for folks who are interested in popping by?
So the pharmacy is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Saturdays, we're there 9 to 4. We are closed on Sundays. So, yeah, we're there 6 days a week, which I think gives patients a lot of opportunity to come in, and that Sunday gives us kind of a break to rest and reset and be ready for a busy week coming up right afterwards.
That is important. So indie pharmacies are kind of a dying breed across America, but the ones who exist are serving a really important role. Talk about your day. What is it like to be an indie pharmacy?
Yeah, so the independent pharmacy world is, has some similarities to the big stores, but then there's a lot of things we do that are very different. For me, typical day, we open at 9. I'm usually in the pharmacy at about 8 o'clock in the morning, just setting us up for the day. Blister packing and specialty packaging options are a big part of our business, and with that, those patients' prescriptions are all filled at the same time. So usually the beginning of my day is processing all of those patients' orders, getting things lined up for our pharmacy technicians who will then come in and actually fill them. And then once they're filled by the technicians, I'm then going back and checking everything to make sure everything was filled correctly. And in between that, we're calling doctors to get patients refills. We're answering questions from patients when they have, maybe it's a drug interaction or a new medication, or something's happened that they can't get a hold of their doctor for, and it might be something we can help them solve with an over-the-counter option. So yeah, we're busy all day, managing all those different things. Sometimes it's, unfortunately dealing with insurance companies, trying to get them to cover medications for a patient or provide documentation. And
do you hate that process as much as we do?
More, yes. 100%.
So the pharmacy industry has changed a lot, I imagine, in the 50 years that you've been running Crawford Drugs, not you particularly, your family. From your perspective, what are the biggest historical shifts in the industry, and how has that impacted your business? Yeah,
so there's a couple of kind of big inflection points we always look to. One of them was the introduction of pharmacy benefit managers into the system. So these are your Optum, Express Scripts, Caremark. There's a few other ones, but those are the biggest players. They kind of position themselves in between the insurance company, the patient, and the pharmacy.
We needed more layers there.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So they have introduced a lot of complexities, and over the years, they went from just a claim processor to now they own pharmacies, they own healthcare companies. It's become a real issue for all the other people in the ecosystem trying to deliver patient care. So that's a big one. And when the federal prescription program, which is Medicare, switched over to the Medicare D drug component, and the PBMs were kind of given control of how to run that, that was another point in time where things got significantly more difficult. And then lately it's been all of the consolidation of those plans. So CVS, for example, owns Aetna, they own Caremark. So they've got all these pieces of your healthcare, and they can, do everything they can to keep it within their own ecosystem, and it really inhibits patient choice.
Yeah.
And that happens with United Health and Optum. Express Scripts is a little different because they don't own, a direct healthcare company the way the other two do, but they have their own pharmacies, their own mail orders. So it's a lot of conflicts of interest in the system right now that really shouldn't exist and don't exist in other industries. CVS is our competition, but they also get to set the prices that we get paid for prescriptions, which seems crazy, right? Like, if you owned Via Canuccia and the restaurant across the street got to set your menu prices, that would seem just
insane,
out of this world.
Yeah.
Yep. So those are the big ones.
So what are the advantages and disadvantages to being independent in that landscape?
So I think the biggest advantages for us are that we can be very nimble and reactive. We can change and offer new services much more quickly than the bigger players can, because they have so many layers of management and people and staff and trainings that it takes them a long time to roll something out, where if we see something that we want to do, we can do it, relatively quickly. We can also offer higher level of services. I mentioned those blister packing services before. They are more labor intensive. They take more technician time, and we can allot those times as much as we want. Whereas at a chain pharmacy, they have good people that work there. They just don't have enough of them. So it's hard for them to do truly expanded services.
If you were speculating on the closures, is that part of it, that they're just spread too thin and it's like the overhead costs that are?
No, I think so. Walgreens has retracted from the city a lot. I think one of the issues there is the Mass Health program turned over the state prescription benefit to a lot of these ACO, MCO companies. So you've got WellSense, which is one plan. You've got when Tufts and Harvard Pilgrim merged, they're .32. That's another plan. And Walgreens, for example, didn't accept the WellSense contract because the payments were so low.
Okay.
So now in the city, that's a huge percentage of your patient population.
And they can't go there.
Right. So then now Walgreens isn't filling enough prescriptions to make the numbers work. And what you now see is they're merging some of their stores together, closing ones that they would consider underperforming, but maybe they wouldn't be underperforming if WellSense wasn't in charge of that prescription benefit and the payments were more what we would call fair and reasonable.
Okay.
So to me, that's the biggest driver. It's just a tough landscape to operate in right now. Margins are slim. You've got to run super lean, and you've got to, really know what you're doing on the day-to-day basis.
I mean, at the federal level, things are constantly in flux, right? Each administration has different ideas about healthcare, whether or not they implement anything different. I guess it's always like the buzz is that things are going to change. How does that impact locally?
So I would say federally, not a lot has changed for us in the past several years. We are pushing for some legislative relief to kind of regulate how some of these PBMs operate and have a more fair and transparent Medicare payment system for pharmacies.
Sorry, PBM is?
Oh, the pharmacy benefit managers.
Okay,
sorry.
Yep.
So we're hoping that in the next cycle that, something positive will happen where the payments are regulated. There's all sorts of different formulas that the federal government already has that they produce that we could use. But right now, those PBMs are left to their own devices and can kind of set rates what, they see fit, even though most of us wouldn't consider them, what we would call, again, fair and reasonable.
Yeah. This is an honest question. Do you think the system is meant to confuse people with like all of the different players and the acronyms and things? Like there's got to be a simpler way, and it almost feels like built-in complexity.
I think over the years, different layers get added in, and when you follow the money at the end of the day and who's actually making it, I do think that there's I don't want to, if intentional is the right word, but there's definitely some ambiguity there that leads to, money coming out of the system and not going to patient care. I mean, a larger percentage should be spent on patients, and it shouldn't be, our healthcare companies shouldn't be top 5 Fortune companies with billions of dollars in profit.
But if you make it complex, it's much more difficult to unravel.
Correct. There's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of zone in mostly on Dorchester. So the landscape of the pharmacy world in Dorchester includes right now those chains, some hospital-run pharmacies, clinics, indies like you. How do you all fit together? And are you all competitors, or is it more mutually like working together?
Yeah, so I would honestly say at the store level, even with the Walgreens and the CVSs, we work and get along with those stores pretty well, because at the end of the day, if they don't have a medication in stock and they need to send a patient up to us, we want to help that person.
Yeah.
Vice versa, if there's something I can't get, I want to help my patient find it. The clinics, also, we have good relationships with most of them. We do see patients that may see a doctor upstairs at the clinic, but they live closer to our pharmacy, so they're going to fill their medications with us. I think on the ground level of, people walking into stores to get their medication, we all work together pretty well. And on top of that, when maybe a chain pharmacy comes across a patient that they really can't service because they need, at-home delivery, packaging, they will refer people over to us. So it is good to have at least a professional working relationship with everybody else.
Would you call them frenemies?
Yeah, maybe that's a good term.
Do you think that places like yours, the indies, are more heavily relied on in the community than the chains?
Yes, I would say the chains may fill more prescriptions, but the level of touch there is a lot lighter where, people don't need as much hands-on management, whereas the people who rely on us, really rely on us.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we've got patients who literally can't leave their homes because they're in a wheelchair or in a hospital bed, and we're bringing 15 or 16 medications to their door for them for, maybe it's a family member that lives with them and they'll, help them administer the medications, but they're all packed, they're organized, and it's just, again, something that some of the bigger stores just wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah. Speaking of your customers, have you noticed any shifts over the last few years in who comes to Crawford more? Is there age demographic shifts, language shifts, anything like that?
So across all pharmacy, it's, really the 50 and older age demographic is the most common because that's when, people start to need more medications just naturally. We have had a large influx of Hispanic speakers. Part of that is another independent pharmacy over in Roxbury did close down, and we took in a lot of their patients and prescription files because we had similar services, delivery, all of those things. So we were able to keep some of their staff, which has been huge. Having Spanish speakers on staff now has been a must for us.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any other language employees?
Right now, Spanish and English. We do have a little bit of a Vietnamese population in our neighborhood too. Luckily, a lot of them are bilingual or have a family member that can help us translate.
Okay.
So, in the future, that may be something for us.
Yeah. I want to actually talk about your staff and your operations. So you do obviously prescriptions, but what other categories are popular in your store?
We do carry a smaller version of what you would see in a big chain pharmacy for just all the different over-the-counter, hygiene, home health, that sort of stuff. Honestly, for us, it's a smaller part of the business with, I think, partly online shopping and, that whole rise that we've seen the past several years. It's really just an adjunct for the patients that we service medication-wise. When they need something like that, we have it, but it's probably 95% or more of our business is really prescriptions.
Yeah. Do you administer flu shots and COVID shots and things?
So we have done some vaccines in the past. Lately, we are surrounded by a lot of health centers, so we do refer a lot of those out because the COVID shots have become incredibly expensive for us to buy and carry, and they are fragile in terms of, they need to be refrigerated, the expiration dates, and all those things.
Yeah.
So for us in store, we've done some shots in the past, but it's not a focus of ours right now with all the other options nearby with the health centers.
Yeah, okay. You talked a little about your delivery services and curbside pickup and things. Have you always done that, or was that something that came on with the pandemic?
So we always had a delivery service. It definitely became more popular and has grown more since the pandemic. In the past, it was really geared towards group homes, sober living houses, day programs like the Kit
bulk drop-offs, things like that. Yeah,
exactly. The Kit Clark Senior Center is a great program here in Dorchester. But with the pandemic, we've really gotten more into home delivery, so the big apartment buildings, the elderly housing, and we do try to focus on the people who really need it to best utilize the time of our drivers.
Yeah, that makes sense. How many staff do you have?
Let's see. So we have 2 pharmacists, myself and my uncle. I've got probably 6 technicians, a mix of full and part-time, and then 3 delivery drivers right now.
When you're looking at things like refill management and people wanting to switch from one pharmacy to yours, how difficult is that process?
So luckily with the kind of proliferation of technology, that part is not too bad. All of the doctors around here know us. The easiest thing to do is to have the doctor send a new set of prescriptions from the office directly to us. That keeps everything lined up. That allows us to know we have the most recent doses on medications. Pharmacy to pharmacy transfers are an option, but sometimes you worry that maybe you got an old prescription or you're missing something. So we do like to go right to the office so that we get the full picture right up front.
Yeah. And how long does that process usually take? Is it pretty quick?
Yeah, that just depends on the doctor's office. I mean, most of them, I'd say 2 or 3 day turnaround time. It is all electronic now, so it comes into our system in almost like an email form, but it's an electronic prescription.
Okay. I want to come back to those big chains because while some of them are closing, they're still pretty big juggernauts, right? So talk about how you compete with them in the areas that you do. They have scale, they have buying power. Like how does a smaller single store compete?
So luckily, nationally, the independent pharmacy community is still pretty strong. We make up a large percentage of total pharmacies across the country. So we do have some national groups that we participate in that help us leverage buying power across a lot of stores. So we have wholesalers and buying groups that, do help us control cost on that side. And then on the day-to-day, it really is just the level of service. If you walk into our pharmacy, there's a good chance me and several of my staff know your name already. And it's, just the different personal touch because it's the same staff, we see the same patients, we get to know everybody. And again, there's good people that work at those other big pharmacies, but they're just not in a position to be able to offer that same level of service based on how those corporations manage their payroll and how many hours they give them and all those things.
How about kind of the newer players like I'm thinking of like the Hims and Hers I know are a thing now, and Wisp and all these mail order places. Some of those fulfill with local pharmacies, right? But also they can deliver?
Yeah, so those, it's interesting. I mean, I don't see a big impact on our patient population right now. Those are really specialized and targeted groups that they're looking at. A lot of them are self or cash pay, so you're not using insurance. They're going to be inexpensive generic medications that are for one or two particular uses, which for us is really not the model because we want to have everything under one roof to appropriately monitor drug interactions, safety, all of those things. So there's a place for it for the people who are only using one or two medications, but it doesn't really impact us much on the day-to-day.
Most of us who have gone into a CVS lately have seen those glass cases and locks on everything, and there is reporting that there is a shoplifting uptick in the area, and I think nationally I've seen it, even in like New York, you'll see it as well. Are you guys experiencing that same situation?
So we don't really have those issues at our store. Again, we're the local small mom and pop neighborhood store. Our customers that come in, they know us.
It's tough to steal from you.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think it is a little different when there's, people that are on tough times and they're, looking to get something that they don't have the money for. I think that the big stores, probably do become a target for that sort of thing. For us, we don't see much of an impact there, and we are so delivery heavy now too that we of course have patients that walk in, but we're also delivering out a lot of stuff. So
not as much of a problem.
Yeah, for us, luckily, and it's unfortunate that it happens, but I do think that that's more of a big box store issue for sure.
Yeah. You talked about costs rising for you. I think people in general are seeing costs go up across the board in their lives. Maybe they're having difficulty accessing some of the things that they might need. If there are folks in a situation where they can't get medications they need or are struggling, do you have any advice for them?
So I would really, for prescriptions specifically, especially here in the city, I would definitely reach out to the health centers and the hospital groups first because they have the clinics in-house, and then there are free care pharmacy programs for folks who are uninsured or underinsured.
Okay.
There's federal money there that they're able to use to help defray some of those costs, at least in the short term, and kind of help people get back on their feet, whether it's finding the right health plan, finding a new doctor, that sort of thing. It does take a little time because the clinics and the hospitals are I won't say overwhelmed, but it's just a very busy time right now. There's a lot of people, especially with Kearney Hospital closing, that were displaced. So there are resources there. It does take a little time to work through the system. If it's just the matter of finding a new pharmacy, any of them, including ourselves, most of us take most of the insurance plan. So sometimes it's just a matter of making a few phone calls, finding who's close and convenient to you and who can provide the services that you need.
Pharmacy reimbursement is definitely a stressor for some independent pharmacies. I don't know if that's an issue with you all, but how have you handled, how has that sort of thing impacted your margins?
Yeah, so it's tough because every year the reimbursements get more thin, And especially since the pandemic, the cost to do business for everything has gone up, whether it's just like at home, your electric bill, rent, even the little plastic bottles that we buy and the little labels that we put on. Like, you know, you might see double, triple prices from what you were looking at 5 or 6 years ago.
Yikes.
So it's hard, and that's why we've been pushing so hard lately for legislative relief to regulate the space a little bit more, to, you know, tell these companies that you do need to pay people fairly because it does cost money to provide all these services.
In the fair payment, is that more of an issue with like these chains that are...
So it's going back to those pharmacy benefit managers that are owned in some cases by a chain pharmacy or a healthcare company. You know, they pay themselves differently than they pay us. They pay... CVS gets preferential treatment because they can negotiate on such a large scale nationally. So bringing those things to light with our federal and state legislature, you know, has been a real focus for us the last several years, and we've made a lot of headway, and we're hoping to, you know, kind of finally see some real change affected in the next year or two would be nice.
Yeah. I almost feel like we need a whiteboard for this podcast episode to like map out all the different players in this space.
There are people have made these massive flow charts that, you know, show all the consolidation and the vertical integration, and it's crazy.
How much admin time do you spend on, you know, insurance denials and things like that and reimbursements and stuff?
So definitely we spend time on it every day. This time of year is probably the busiest with that.
Because people are changing?
Yes, our Medicare open enrollment is happening right now, so we'll have a whole host of people with new health plans. Here in the state, some of the health plans are going away because they're, again, pulling back from, you know, what they consider to be difficult populations to serve based on their numbers. So November, December, January is real busy with all those things, not to mention end of the year, just any business taxes and all those things. So,
not to mention your personal life is insane. So yeah, it's a great time of year.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's dark at 4 p.m. So
which also helps the mood. Yep. So yeah, I would say on the actual pharmacy stuff, it could be an hour of labor time a day between me and the technicians. But then this time of year, that's, you know, taking things home on the weekend, working after hours. So
sounds lovely.
Squeezing in a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I should have called you in February. How do you attract staff, and how do you retain them and train them? And is there any type of culture that you're going for at Crawford?
So honestly, most of our staff over the years have been people who their families have used our pharmacy and they've grown up in the neighborhood and they come and work for us. Sometimes it's a period of time while they're in high school or college, and then they move on to something else. And then sometimes it is longer and they're with us for, you know, 10, 12 years. So it's really local based for sure. I've got technicians now that walk to work. And then, of course, also our family. So, you know, my cousin works with us now. My brother worked with us in the past. So I would say a combination of our family and the neighborhood.
So that's a good segue to my next question, which is about succession planning. So this business has been in your family for 50 years. Is there a Mike Jr. coming up in the ranks to take it over in 10 years, 15 years? I mean, you're a pretty young man, so
Yeah, so I'm just turned 40, so I've still got some time left for sure. My daughter is 10. I don't know if it's the field that she wants to enter yet. We're, you know, haven't quite got there yet.
She doesn't know yet either.
Right, yep, exactly. So, you know, I think for the foreseeable future, it's still definitely my uncle and myself. And then as we get a little further down the road, we'll see. But being in the neighborhood as long as we have, we certainly don't want to go anywhere anytime soon and, you know, still plan to be there for a long time.
I think that's music to people's ears because we don't want to see that space occupied by anybody else.
Right. Yep, for sure.
So last question. What is your favorite restaurant to eat at in Dorchester?
Ooh, so we have a few. Of course, I've got to shout out Via right next door. They've been awesome ever since they've gone in. I haven't seen anybody get as much positive like publicity around the city as they have.
Yeah.
I've always actually liked Lucy's right down on Gallivan ever since they opened up. So those are probably my top two go-tos.
Okay. Those are both great choices. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, Mike. It's awesome to see you. Thanks for carving out time in your busy season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate coming in. It's always good to spread the word as to what's really happening because I think patients only get bits and pieces, and you don't see all the big players and
Right.
how it all fits together. So, yeah, it's good to come in.
It's great to have you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Dot Life is supported by The Record Company, Boston's leading provider of accessible music creation spaces. The Record Company is addressing the critical shortage of affordable creative space in our city, serving over 4,000 monthly users across 131 communities. They've preserved 47,000 square feet of professional studio and rehearsal space at rates 60 to 90% below market value, ensuring Boston's musicians have a place to create, regardless of economic means. But they're more than just affordable space. They're building career pathways through partnerships with Bunker Hill Community College, offering professional certification programs that lead to sustainable music careers. This vital work is at risk. As creative spaces continue to disappear across Boston, the Record Company needs community support to maintain these essential resources. Their Amplify Boston campaign directly funds space preservation and career development programs. Visit therecordcompany.org today. That's therecordco.org to donate, become a monthly supporter, or learn about partnership opportunities. Every contribution helps keep Boston's music ecosystem thriving. The Record Company, creating accessible pathways to music creation since 2010. Welcome back to Dot Life. We are here for this week's Tiny Dot concert with Jim Lawrence Wilson. Hi, Jim.
Hi there.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got a lot of gear for a single guitar player.
I do, yeah. I get that a lot.
Well, before we get into what all this stuff does, tell us a little about you. Where'd you come in from tonight?
I came in from Burrillville, Rhode Island.
I still don't know what that word is. Can you say it again?
Yeah, Burrillville.
Burl.
Yeah.
B-E-R-L?
Burrillville. Yeah, it's most people in Rhode Island don't even really know what it is.
And that's in the corner near us?
Yeah,
or the top?
Yep,
Okay.
the most northwestern corner.
Okay, perfect.
Small town. Yeah.
Nice. And you have actually played in Dorchester before. You played Dorchfest last year?
I have, yes, it was great.
Thank you.
Got to walk around and see everybody playing and then play myself. It was absolutely awesome.
Nice.
Environment.
Very nice. So tell me what this red thing is.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a loop station.
Okay.
And it basically has 6 buttons on it that are record and play buttons.
Okay.
So I'll hit record, and then whatever comes through my second mic and whatever comes through my guitar will be recorded back, and then I can hit play, and then I can do overdubs on top of it.
Okay.
And yeah, it gives me a bigger, fuller sound because I don't know. I got it because I was playing. I was working at the casino at Twin River Casino, and
nice.
I was
Okay.
working overnights as a dealer, and it was. I was trying to have a band going, and it just like their schedules did not coincide with mine. I was going to school in the afternoons, so I
Yeah.
just have no free time.
There's not a lot of guys who want to play music at 9 a.m.
No, not
Okay.
not really. And so I was like, I don't want to just be like an acoustic act. Like I want more going on where it's more similar to like maybe I could play with bands in the future or whatever the case might be. I can still do guitar solos if I want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up getting it, and I no regrets.
We had a one-man band on once last season, and he had a similar situation. He wanted to play in a band. He couldn't get guys together. She's like, I'll just build it myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's basically. I do go by one man band a lot.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Can you demo this for us?
Absolutely. Do you want just the mic or the guitar as well?
Just the mic. Just give us a sense of what we are going to see in the guitar when you play in a bit.
All right, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so this mic will be on stage with me. It won't be my main mic that I sing into. I do vocal harmonies and beatboxing with this mic, so it usually I play with the guitar too, but just with the mic, which you'll see, I'll just go like this. And that's
That's cool.
yeah, thank you.
Can I try it?
Sure.
So you're gonna have to hit the pedal for me, right?
Yep. So I'll hit the record button, and once it starts blinking red, you can or once it goes red, you can start doing whatever you want.
Okay.
Ready?
Welcome to Dot Life. And then I have to do another thing.
You can if you want to, or you can leave it like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more. Go Bills. I just did my first loop. I'm so
There you go.
excited. That was great. So this works with this other set
Yes.
over here. And what does this do?
So this is a more traditional pedal board. Pretty much, basically every guitar player knows what these are. I built the board itself myself.
Okay.
I got rid of my bed and got a new bed. So rather than just throwing out the frame, I was like, I could probably build like something for music out of this. So I built this pedal board, and I built my custom rack over there too.
Okay, nice.
And yeah, so it goes from my tuner just to make sure I'm in tune. I like having it because it's a mute switch too, so nobody hears what I'm doing, rather than having like a clip-on tuner where everybody hears me like dum.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
That's never really great. This small blue one here is a blues driver pedal. It kind of thickens the sound a little bit, but I use it mostly for like guitar solos because it brings up the volume just a little bit.
Okay.
And especially with the looper because it gets louder as more layers go onto it. So I definitely want that volume boost. This is an octave pedal.
Okay.
Jack White from the White Stripes designed this with Copper Sound and his group, Third Man Group.
Okay.
And they took like 3 telegraph buttons.
Yeah.
And so the one on the left is a 1 octave down, so it gives me like bass sounds.
Okay.
It kind of sounds
so it's like a capo without having to capo?
Yeah, but it's a full octave down.
Okay.
So it's more like as if I had like a bass guitarist, but
I see.
I can do it just with my guitar.
Okay.
And then that's an octave up, which is
Okay.
also similar, but same thing, full octave up. So
Yep.
it'd be like putting a capo on the 12th fret.
And what's this middle one?
So that's just a kill switch for the regular,
Okay.
for the dry tone.
Okay.
So if I go octave up, if I don't hit the middle button, you'll hear, both the octave up and the dry signal.
I see.
So if I
Okay.
want just the octave up, I have to hit the middle button.
Okay.
That's my tube screamer. It's a classic pedal. I love it. I just love the tone on it. The yellow and the green one there, I use the least as a one-man band.
Okay.
I use them more when I was like playing with other people. We have just a regular overdrive distortion pedal. I like the way it sounds. I got it from a friend who got it from a friend. It's just kind of passed through the friend group.
Okay.
And it's absolutely beaten to oblivion. And I think it makes it sound better. And then we have the Way Huge Swollen Pickle, which is a fuzz pedal. Similar to like distortion, but more fuzzy.
Okay.
And then my last one is...
As pickles are.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And then the last one is just my digital delay pedal. It's the Boss DD8, and it's a classic. Just gives you that like echoey sound on your guitar.
Okay. Very cool. So how did you decide? I know you decided to do all of this because of the band coordination situation, but how did you get into music in general?
I grew up very like around music. My mom and dad both had pretty different tastes in music for the most part, and so I kind of got a background of like a lot of different elements of different music. And my mom always sang in the house at the top of her lungs, so I kind of
nice.
started doing the same. And then my I don't know. And then I started taking it more seriously, I think, around the time my stepdad was deployed.
Okay.
He was in Afghanistan, and I think as like a kind of...
Coping mechanism?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started really like learning my guitar chords and like scales, and I felt a little more free to like sing in the house too.
Okay.
So I think I really worked on things there. And yeah, and then I don't know. So, and then I my dad was kind of learning to play bass around the same time
Okay.
that I was learning to play guitar, and he joined a band, and so I kind of started playing with them a little bit, and yeah, that brought me to around where I was starting at Twin River, and yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
And then I started doing my own thing.
Very cool. Who would you consider your inspirations for your songwriting and for your style?
Great question. I have so many inspirations. My biggest one is Linkin Park, believe it or not.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love, like, their first two albums were very similar sounding, but even then they were very experimental. They were kind of blending like rap with rock with like electronic things. And I just loved that experimental nature. And then like as they went on in albums, they just got super like, let's try something totally different and something we've never done before. They went like kind of making like, the first two were like kind of new metal, like alternative rock. And then the third one was like pretty much straight like alternative music with like, you know, slow songs and then super heavy songs. And then, I don't know, they went like super electronic for a couple albums, and then they did like a heavy rock album and then a super pop album.
Okay.
And so I love the experimental nature of it. I love the way that Chester sang, the way that Mike produced. And so they're probably my biggest inspiration. I think my biggest live inspiration, I have a couple, as far as like the loop goes, the loop station and whatnot. I think I first found out what a loop station was just going to a small little restaurant. And there was a guy with just an acoustic guitar, and he would just mostly just playing chords and singing, and it was just a small little loop station, and he just did solos over it.
Okay.
And I was probably like 17. I was like, that's genius.
You're mesmerized.
I was mesmerized. And then I realized that there's all these, you know, people who use loop stations. None of them get really huge, but the one who's the biggest is Ed Sheeran.
Oh, right.
So
I actually see a little Ed Sheeran in your vocals, and your I think some of your writing is a little Ed Sheeran-y.
Yeah. I definitely I love Ed Sheeran, and I've seen him twice, and he does the whole loop station thing, and I feel that he's a great inspiration because his whole team puts on just like stadium shows night after night of like this is how we're gonna do the loop station thing. So I like watch a lot of videos of them like talking about
neat.
it,
Yeah.
and I try to adopt a lot of it into my my own thing.
And you cover a lot of Tay-Tay.
I do cover a lot of Tay-Tay. Yes. Yeah. I also love Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's phenomenal. I got into a couple of not arguments this week, but like people talking about like pop music and whatnot, and like it just bothers me so bad when like I understand where it's like, all right, she's everywhere, she's on my TV now, and she's at the football games, and but like people don't really know like her like underground stuff, like the stuff that's not all over the radio and in your face. And she's just a genius songwriter, and like, yeah, she's great. Nice. I feel some inspiration from her as well.
Nice. I can see that. What are you going to play for us?
So I'm going to play 4 original songs. The first one, I believe, I'm going to do my song Different.
And it is different.
Yes, it is different. That's one, I think I released it 2 years ago.
We'll have to listen and see what we think.
I'm not going to tell you any more about that one. Okay. You're going to have to listen for yourself. So Different, and then my second song is Come Alive. That one has been around. I actually wrote that for a band that I was in, which I ended up leaving, and they did a couple more years. They're no longer making music, but and they kind of switched genres totally. But, so I wrote that song for the band because my guitar player came up with that like first opening lick of it, the down, and it's super simple, but it like struck something in me. Okay. Where I just like that night wrote everything, and I sent it to him, and he's like, I think you might want to keep that for yourself. So we played it with the band a couple times, and then I just released it myself. So that's kind of the story behind that song. And then I'll do my song Would You, which is from my first and only record on Unrestricted. And that's it's a slower song, but it's I don't know, it's very meaningful. All my songs that I'm gonna do are I don't know if the 4 are necessarily my best songs, but I feel that they kind of demonstrate a different aspect of what I do, kind of that experimental nature. So like different. It's more meant to be acoustic. I'm gonna play it on my SG, so it's not gonna be acoustic, but it's kind of was written as an acoustic song. Come Alive is more like rock and roll. Would You is my sad one, and my 4th song is my song I Don't Want to Fail, which is also from my first record, and that one kind of shows my I tend to kind of do some. I don't love calling it rapping, but my like super fast like rap type vocals, and then I also have a guitar solo in it, which I do a lot of guitar solos when I play. So I feel like those 4 songs are a pretty good representation of who I am as an artist, probably.
You mentioned your album, and that is available on what?
It's available on all streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you listen to. It's on there, all over the internet.
Where else can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, basically everywhere on the internet except I'm not on TikTok yet.
Okay.
And I do sell physical copies of my album. People don't really buy CDs.
Records
a lot,
or
though.
CDs?
CDs, yeah, no
Okay.
records.
Yeah.
I'm not nearly advanced enough to do records.
And you said it was called Unrestricted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
which the title of it too is also supposed to kind of represent that experimental, like I don't love confining to a genre necessarily. I think maybe I most fit in like an alternative rock type place, maybe like a pop rock type scenario. But I like experimenting all over the place, and so my first album I was very like careful to do songs that were all of different like genres, all of different sounds, like trying to do different things, so I don't feel restricted later on.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of bands, they start like changing their sound after a couple albums.
And people are like, I like the old stuff.
Yeah, like stop doing this new stuff.
Play the
I don't like
hits.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of my way of being like, I'm gonna keep doing different things.
Yeah.
I hope you still like it.
So do you perform a lot live?
I try to. Yeah. I'm currently full-time enrolled in school right now, so I've been really slacking on how much I get out there and reach out to places to play live. But I play over Rhode Island a lot. I'm trying to get into Mass and Connecticut. I pretty much play wherever will have me.
Okay.
I try to look up a lot of different places and places where I might fit. And I do find that like in a lot of scenarios I can kind of tailor what I do depending on like the demographic there. So like I feel like that's a plus for me.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I was, like a heavy metal band, like they're not going to play at like the restaurant down the road.
No.
Where like, I can kind of go to like a small club, or I can go to like a restaurant
Right.
or a cafe and kind of tone it down a bit. So I think that helps a lot too.
Well, what's your Instagram in case people want to follow you?
Yes. So my all my social media are the same. It's Jim Lawrence Wilson. And then Instagram, there's no underscores or anything. It's all one word. I think it's Jim Lawrence Wilson Music.
Okay. Perfect.
But if you look up my name, I'm the first and only thing that pops up. That's unfortunately there's so many Jimmy Wilsons in the world.
That's a
and
pretty
James
common
Wilsons.
name. Yeah.
So the Jim Lawrence Wilson, Lawrence is kind of tough to spell, and it's long, but I am the only thing that pops up.
It's not as tough to spell
type
as
it
your
in.
hometown, so we've got that going for
Yes, I think, I believe in people. If people can spell Burrellville, then they can spell Lawrence.
you. Can we hear you play some songs?
Absolutely, I would love that.
Great, thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, hi, my name is Jim Lawrence Wilson, and this song is called Different. Hope you like it. got a couple regrets, but I can let them live. And I've got my whole life ahead, and there's so much left to give. And I'm sorry to those who I made so many mistakes with. I'm sure I think about them more than you ever did. My mind put a curse on me. I don't understand all the memories. They've stayed in my brain and now they drive me insane. For some it's been years, how long can they stay? Think I've learned like everyone else, but I've stayed awkward and no one can help. I guess nobody can be like me. But I finally realized that makes me free. I'm finally free. My friends could tell me a lie, but I suppose so could I. We meet up like 5 times a year, but I cheer when I hear they're doing alright. Why do I make the mistakes that I make on the daily? Would I know if they lied to my face? I don't know, I'll say maybe. My mind played a trick on me. Am I the villain in anyone's story? Is this the happiest I'll ever be? What does it matter if nobody agrees? Am I an extra in my own story? Even the villain should be happy, but I feel like the hero with a destiny. So from now on I will always be free. I'm finally free, but I find it's a choice. It's not some predetermined disposition. It's how we use our voices. If you wanna be free, it's a decision that can be made. My mind put a curse on me. I don't understand all the memories. They've stayed in my brain and now they drive me insane. For some it's been years, how long can they stay? Think I've learned like everyone else, but I've stayed awkward and no one can help. I guess nobody can be like me, but I finally realized that makes me free. Yeah, my mind played a trick on me. Am I the villain in anyone's story? Is this the happiest I'll ever be? What does it matter if nobody agrees? Am I an extra in my own story? Even the villain should be happy, but I feel like the hero with a destiny. So from now on I will always be free. I'm finally free. All right, yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Very much appreciated. This next one is another song that I wrote pretty shortly after I started playing out places, and yeah, I don't know, it seemed to be something that a lot of people enjoyed, so I think I play it pretty much at every show now, and I don't know, yeah, the song's called Come Alive. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I should have stayed. I'm going down a lonely road that used to be overpopulated, and I don't know who to trust. I used to trust everyone, but I've been betrayed too many times, and now he's about to run, 'cause I'm about to come alive. Oh, and anyone who wishes to to thrive. Up over me, I won't let survive. First I have to come up, come alive, come alive. Oh. I was given some good advice, but it only seemed good at the time. For the old man saw my own potential, and he took advantage of my naive mind. Went with the others down the high road. Now I look for just anyone. The others failed, but I'm becoming stronger, and now he's about to run. 'Cause I'm about to come up, come alive. Oh, and anyone who wishes to thrive. Up over me, I won't let survive. First I have to come up, come alive, come alive. Oh, oh, oh. I'm about to come up, come alive. Oh, and anyone who wishes to thrive. Up over me, I won't let survive. First I have to come up, come alive. Yeah, I'm about to come up, come alive. Oh, and anyone who wishes to thrive. Up over me, I won't let survive. First I have to come up, come alive, come alive. Oh, 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 oh. Come alive. Come alive. Cool. This is a song from my first and only album. It's one of the slower songs from the album, and I don't know. I like it. It tells a lot of truth, I think, and I don't know. I hope you like it too. Would you listen to a genius if he
offended you. Would you listen to a kind man if he was just a fool? Could I ever be the best there ever was if I'd sold the harsh truth to you? I think not. I think not. Would you agree? If I was a genius, would I be listened to? If everything I said was the harsh and painful truth, would you only believe what you want to be true? Or might you believe something you don't want to? I think not. Would you agree? I think not. Don't you know there's an ever-growing world of change beyond our sight? Many disregarded facts, 'cause we don't believe our eyes, or someone tells us not to see. Would you believe? I think not. If I was a genius, would I be listened to? If everything I said was the harsh and painful truth, would you only believe what you want to be true? Or might you believe something you don't want to? I think not. Would you agree? I think not. If I was a genius, would I be listened to? If everything I said was the harsh and painful truth, would you only believe what you want to be true? Or might you believe something you don't want to? I think not. Would you agree? I think not.
Cool. All right, this will be my last song. Thank you guys again for having me. This is another one from the first and only album, and this one is called I Don't Want to Fail. Industry, that's where I'll be, knock on wood, hopefully. But everybody else is doing better than me. Rhode Island promise more like me. Beer work sinks, but more than just the cigarette smell. People more sinful than the devil himself. And out Saturday nights I have to scream and yell every 5 minutes, but no one can tell. But nicest people you meet are the ones that fall on the street, get picked up eventually, but now we're skin on the knees. But I can't make up my mind, I'm wasting none of my time. I don't know what I should find from singing songs I write. I don't wanna feel like anybody else. But if I say I'll prevail, I'll be kidding myself. I don't wanna fail like anybody else. I wanna succeed, I wanna prevail. I don't wanna fail. I'm jealous of the people who sell out shows. Jealous of the people on the honor roll. Jealous of the way that everybody who's my age is almost ever playing games or goes to class and still gets A's. But the nicest people you'll meet are the ones that fall on the street, get picked up eventually, but now we're skin on their knees. But I can't make up my mind, I'm wasting all of my time. I don't know what I should find from singing songs I write. I don't wanna fail like anybody else. But if I say I'll prevail, I'll be kidding myself. I don't wanna fail like anybody else. I wanna succeed, I wanna prevail. I don't wanna fail. Oh. Anybody else. But if I say I'll prevail, I'll be kidding myself. I don't wanna fail like anybody else. I wanna succeed, I wanna prevail. I don't wanna fail. Oh. Thank you again.
Thank you for listening to Dot Life, which is available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Dot Life is produced and edited by me, Aaron Caldwell. Technical and editing support are provided by Yasser Mahmoud. Additional support is provided by the Dorchester Reporter and the Record Company. Thanks to Mike Wilson, Jim Lawrence Wilson, and Bill Forry for joining this week's show. Thank you for listening, and we'd love it if you could share, subscribe, rate, and review the pod wherever you listen. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, visit .lifepod.com for more information.